What's up, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, November 24th, 2020, I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here today. I'm quite aware you could have been anywhere in this world today. I know you could have been anywhere in this world today, but you decided to be here with me, and I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays on this 24th of November, 2 days before Thanksgiving on 2020. Man, what a year 2020. I tell you, there's a lot to be thankful for. I know that. I know I am. But ladies and gentlemen, a couple of things. We got an action-packed show, as we always do each and every week, each and every Tuesday. I got a special guest joining us today, so we should have a lot of fun with that. But before I begin, I would like to state my intentions for the show. And my intention is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life's transition. So that's what we do here on Transition Tuesdays. We do that here on Transition Tuesdays. So we got a special guest that I want to bring to the table here shortly, to the Transition Tuesdays table. I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to try to do a video first. If I get this person through video, it'll be great. If not, I'm going to call. So I'm going to just wait just a few if I can. Anybody joining us thus far? Not sure. But I'm going to see if I can pull this person up. We got my man Chris Williams, Uncle Smoothie, the voice of the Jaspers, joining us today. What's going on, Uncle Smoothie? What's going on, brother? You ready tomorrow? You ready tomorrow to knock him dead? I know you are, Smoothie. I know you are, my man. So let's see what we got here. All right. I'm going to see we have anybody coming on so I can get my guest on. We got John joining. What's going on, John? Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving to you, man. Perfect. We got John joining us, man. John Alvarez. Thank you, man. Thank you. So again, I'm going to try this. Trying to do a video for my special guest. If that fails, I always got my trusty phone. I can always call. So we're going to see what goes on. But before I do that, I'll give him a little time to come on board. But while we're doing that, just trying to see what is everybody doing for Thanksgiving. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Are you staying put, staying home this Thanksgiving this year? Or, what's going on? We got my cousin Annette from the D. What up, though, joining us here on Transition Tuesdays. What up, though? Hey, cousin the D. Now, I know you guys got a big shindig plan. Again, I want you guys to be responsible, though. Please, social distancing. If I was you guys, like I see a lot of parties, a lot of people are doing this. They're having people, they're having people on. I mean, they're having people when they come at home, but they're taking the test and stuff like that, becoming negative. And also, you got the mask, be socially responsible, and also we're taking temperature. Yep. Now, okay, so that's important. Very important, D. Very important in that from the D. Please be responsible out there. We got my man Greg joining. What's going on, Greg? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Hold on 1 second there, special guest. I'm going to see if I can pull you up. Let me see if I can do this here. 1 second. 1 second, guys, as I'm trying to maneuver through this. Let's see if I can do this. 1 second. As we doing this live, y'all. This is live. So we're trying to go here live. 1 second. Hang tight with me. And I appreciate you guys being with me on this here. Hopefully you can. So I extended this invite. See what goes on. Anything going on with that? John says, I cook for many on Thanksgiving. Not this year, though. Be small and safe this year. Yep. I'm with you on that, John. Definitely with you on that, my man. We got Ron DeClario. We got an MVP coach, most valuable player, and a Hall of Fame coach joining us. Welcome. We also got Leah joining us. Hey, Leah. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Special guest, I'm going to give you a call. All right, so hang tight. Let me do this. Let me dial these digits, guys. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way because, again, it always seems like I have some technical difficulty when I do my thing here. But that's okay. We're going to make it happen. See what we got. See what we got. See.
Hello?
Special guest.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, who's this?
All right. Who's this? This is your life, friend. This is Russ from Transition Tuesdays.
Russ, what's going on, man?
What's up, my man? Hey, listen. That's funny. Who's this? Now, here's.
I see you. I'm on the page, but I don't know how to get to come on live or join in. So.
I know, man. Don't worry about it. We're gonna do it the podcast way. So let me do this, man. Let me do the special guest. Let me bring you out the correct way here, man. So, my special guest. Hey, turn down your volume a little bit in your background too, there, Tone.
I got it.
Okay, cool. Now, my special guest is a product of New York City, more specifically from the High Bridge section of the Bronx. Now, this young man attended All Hallows High School, where in addition to being the school's valedictorian, this guy was the school's valedictorian. He captured the Gale. He captained the Gales to the New York City and state championship his senior year. Now, with multiple basketball scholarships on the table during his senior year, my guest chose to take his talents to Columbia University, accumulating assist records that stand to this very day, and also achieving academic status as a member of the Dean's List at the world's famous Ivy League at Columbia University. That is big. He also coached well over 24 years at the nation's most prominent institutions, including St. John's, Tulane, Fordham, Iona, Drexel, and Manhattan College, my alma mater. And finally, my guest is the central figure in a true life tale depicted in his brother's book, The Crack Era, The Rise, Fall, and Redemption of Kevin Chiles. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, please help me welcome Mr. Tony Chiles to Transition Tuesdays. Tony, what's good, my man?
Russ, what's going on, my brother? How's everything, man?
All right, my man. We got Lenny Pitt joining us, and he says, what's up, TC? His man, TC. That's right. Yep, Tony Chiles is definitely the man. I'm so glad to have him on, man. Hey, Tony, man. Now, I can't see you, obviously, but again, I like to make my guests feel at home. So I'm going to play a tune for you, Tony. I want to see if you recognize this song. And again, you know, you being from the Bronx and everything, I just wanted to make you feel at home. So I'm going to play this tune for you. Let me know what you think of it when you hear it. And I'm sure you heard this before. Well, I'm hoping you heard this tune before, but let me play this for you really quick. Hang tight for a second. Where's my thing? I'm trying to do my DJing skills here. All right, there we go. All right, one second. Here we go. You know what that is?
Why wouldn't I?
All right. I'm going to let the chorus come in. You know what the world's famous chorus for this song? Because I know where you're from.
South all day.
All right. Hey, Tony, when you hear this song, man, what do you think about when you hear this song by BDP, South Bronx, courtesy of B-Boy Records? What do you think about, man, when you hear this song, South Bronx?
Well, I tell you the truth, man. Many people don't know this about me, man. When I was about 10, 11, man, my father was a DJ, man, and we used to DJ out the park, man. So
get out of here, really?
RS1 and all of them and everything, man. So it takes me back to my childhood, way back before I even, went to high school, junior high school. So, man, I got fond flashbacks to High Bridge, being in Nelson Park, plugging into the light poles, man, and me and the crew, John Morton, Chuck Martin, all them dudes was down my little crew.
Oh, yeah, I had Chucky Martin on here like maybe a month ago on the show, man. Oh, man, that's cool. Man, oh, man, that's perfect, man. Man, one thing to this day, because, I'm from Queens, and I love the way KRS-One set up that whole process. He created a beef when it wasn't a beef,
Without a doubt. He was the king of battle rap.
Yeah, he created that. He just said, they just say, when Shan came out with, about his song, he didn't mention anything about where the music was originated from. He didn't say none of that. But again, KRS-One just jacked that one. He says, "Okay, that's what you said. Okay, I'm gonna come back with this."
That's what us Bronx dudes do, man. We go out of our way to create havoc.
There you go, right? Oh, man. Hey, so Tony, man, I'll be remiss first off, man. How are you and your family coping in these 3 pandemics that we're going through, from COVID through the economy and social injustice? You know, how are you and your family coping, man, nowadays?
I tell you the truth, man. We just trying to stay out the way, man, and get to the other side. The biggest thing for me, man, my 9-year-old is remote learning, and his mother actually runs a assisted living facility. So he's with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm the teacher, the principal, the lunch monitor, the dean of discipline, man. So it's driving me crazy, man. I don't know if it's driving me crazy or driving him crazy, but it's working both ways. Though. But I mean, everybody's doing well, man. We just trying to be safe and get to the other side.
I got you. Well, you being a valedictorian in your high school and graduating from Columbia University, you should be able to handle that no problem, TC.
Man, listen, this new math that they doing, man, this is something I'm unfamiliar with, man. So I feel like I'm learning to be a 4th grader again myself, man. Don't let it fool you, man.
I hear you, man. I definitely hear you. Now, Tony, man, I don't know if you know, we go way back, man.
Man, listen, Super Biddies, man.
Yeah, Super Biddies at Riverside Church, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You know, oh, man. So, you know, the famed Riverside Church, that's the first time I met Tony Chiles. And like, Tony is one of the mainstays guys at Riverside. I mean, one of those guys like I looked up to in the whole 9, you know what I mean? Even though I was a little bit taller than Tony, but I looked up to Tony, man, you know, with the Riverside days. Hey, talk to me a little bit about Riverside, man, and you about being a Hawk. And I got a funny story about Riverside Church, but you know, how was your days playing at Riverside Church, the famed Riverside Church back in the day?
I tell you the truth, man. I was playing with the Trotters, the neighborhood team in the Bronx, and we played against Riverside in Stone Gym. And I played pretty well. So the next thing I know that, you know, they was reaching out to me, and I went down there and played for them. And throughout high school, I played with Riverside and the Sun Devils, which was kind of one and the same.
Sun Devils, yes,
so,
yes.
You know, so I mean, but there was some great talent back then, man. And the thing that it taught me was that you always had to be on your game, man, because there was only really like 4 really good AAU teams.
Yep.
And so when you played, man, you had to really be on top of your game or somebody scorched you, man. So
definitely.
I had a little bit too much pride to get destroyed. I wasn't that good, but I wasn't just going to let you walk all over it.
Nah, I hear you. Hey, you know, here was my thought process when I played for Riverside Church briefly. My deal was this, Tony. I was like, listen, man, for me, all I want is those Riverside shorts, the blue shorts with the yellow Riverside on it.
The bag and the jacket.
I got to get the bag. I can get the yellow bag with the black trimming. Got to get that. And I got to get one of the Riverside Hawks jackets with almost like the starter jacket style that had Hawks against it.
Yeah, with the flap on the back.
Yes, absolutely. Because my deal was this. I was like, you know what? I was like, listen, man, I'm going to be the only guy in Queens rocking this Riverside gear. So that was my mindset. That's all I was thinking about.
Nah, those were good times, man. I met a lot of good people, man.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, so let's take it back a little bit now, Tony. So, like, you know, I know you attended All Hallows High School in the Bronx, like we mentioned before. You're valedictorian, which is super, man. Talk to us about, you know, your times at All Hallows, the famous All Hallows, and talking about winning a city and state championship, man, during your time there. How was that experience?
I mean, All Hallows was great for me, man. And anybody that grew up with me in Highbridge knew that, you know, had I not gone to All Hallows, I don't know what or where I'd be right now. I mean, one, it was all boys, so that kind of kept me away from being the girl crazy guy that I was. Mm-hmm. And you know, it was a foundation there, man. There was a history of great guards. You know, Ed Gonzalez went there, Travis Deadman, Omar Johnson, Wendell. I mean, there were some really good guys that came there before me, man. Mm-hmm. And so it was just a matter of just trying to, you know, not screw it up. You know, I mean, I never went there thinking that, you know, I'd be the one that would bring, you know, a city or state championship there. I just didn't want to be the one that screwed it up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I hear you, man. Who were some of your teammates on that city and state championship team?
Well, that year was unique because Power had closed the year before.
Yep, and I went to Power my year that year in '84. Yep,
Yeah, Power had closed the year before, and I think I did my best recruiting job of my life. Even through my college days, I went and got Darryl Walker, Yada, and Mark Lake.
Yes,
I came over with myself, Eric Alvarado. We had Harold Ashby. have been okay, pretty good, and made us really, really good. Because I mean, that Darryl was just unstoppable.
He was. He definitely was. Yeah. Yep. He's from my projects too, Douglas projects too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, so was Olin Polonius on that team or no? No, he wasn't.
Nah, listen, that's what's so crazy. I mean, my sophomore year, I got moved up, and I played with Odin. Odin was the senior that year. We lost in the semifinals to Lloyd with Kenny Smith. And Kenny blew out his ankle the next game, and they lost the championship. My junior year, we had Richie Simmons and Antoine Ford. So I played with back-to-back 7-footers. And we lost in the semifinals to Talent Time my junior year.
Talent Time. Hey, why did you go to Talent Time, man?
Because they had John Johnson and Ben Gordon a year ahead of me, and I wanted to play a little bit.
Okay, I got you. John Johnson was a beast, man.
Yeah, that was my man. But I mean, he played varsity at a high level from freshman year on.
Yeah,
I was a year behind him, so I was like, listen, man. I mean, I'm all about tradition, but I mean, I kind of want to play if I go to school. So
definitely,
that was an easy choice for me.
Definitely, man. Do you see your teammates do you guys get together, celebrate that championship? So
I tell you what was crazy. I mean, I speak to Dow and Skeeter, Eric Alvarado. I speak to them every week. I mean, they're like my best friends. So we get together when we can. And what's crazy is right before this pandemic broke out, this would have been the 35th year anniversary. So we had actually planned on flying guys back in and doing some stuff the first week of the NCAA tournament. Like we had a big thing planned up. We was going to get together the bar and have some of our classmates come. And obviously the pandemic hit, and it didn't happen. But I mean, I stay in contact with all those guys. I speak to Andy. I speak to Brian Ranahan. I mean, Harold Ashby. I mean, the social media allows you to kind of reach out to guys that you wouldn't see on a regular basis. But we do a good job of staying in contact with each other. Man, that was a real close knit group.
Oh, that's cool.
That's why we won. Because we really, I mean, we did everything together.
Definitely. We got my man Steven Jackson joining us. Steven Eric Jackson. Hey, Steven, man, congratulations on your wedding, man. I see you looking nice in Facebook, man. You're looking big, man. You're looking good, man. Congratulations to you and your bride, man. No doubt about that. Hey, so, Tony, man, so you were coached by, was it Coach Carey, right? Was that Coach Carey?
Yeah, Coach Carey, definitely.
I'm going to tell you a story about Coach Carey, man. And again, I don't know what, he used to do camps and stuff like this.
Yeah, the Shamrock camp up in the upstate. Yeah.
Yep, and he used to always bring out his best players, and he does this thing called a reverse pivot.
Yeah. Listen, in the rocket step, reverse pivot in the rocket step.
Yeah, I could never do it. And he used to always get the best campers. They were not able to do that, but I remember the reverse pivot, and I could never do it. No one could ever do it.
Yeah, he instilled that in all of us, man. So that's one thing. I mean, Coach Carey was a great coach, but he really taught footwork and he taught you how to play the game.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. We got my man John Lee joining us. What's going on, John? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. And we got my special guest, Mr. Tony Chiles, joining us here. Hey, so Tony, after that championship at All Hallows, you decided to attend Columbia University. What schools were looking at you before you signed with Columbia?
I mean, well, back then, you remember that's when Georgia Tech had like 6 guys that played, and all other guys were like friends. So Bobby Crimmins recruited me a little bit because he was an alum from my school. But
right.
That's a whole different story. I mean, Iona a little bit. Manhattan recruited me. Fordham recruited me. Siena. So I mean, I was a legitimate mid-major player. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I was pro by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But I mean, I had a good handful of schools where I could have made decisions. But to tell you the truth, Bobby Crimmins had a lot to do with me going to Columbia.
Wow.
He came in, like I said, he was an alum from my school. So he came in and sat down with me and explained, hey, listen, you can come here if you want. I mean, I can't guarantee you how much you'll play, whatever the case is. But Coach Carey told me that you have, really good grades and that Ivy League schools will recruit you. He said, if you can get into an Ivy League school, I would do that. He said, because, 20 years from now, people are not going to ask you if you played in the NCAA tournament, you played in the Georgia Dome. 20 years from now, my ex-players may come to you for a job.
That's right. Absolutely.
That made a lot of sense to me. That made a lot of sense to me.
Definitely, man. So I know, you did so well there. Like you talked about, I talked about how you have some assist records that stand to this day. So you have actually like assist records at Columbia?
Yeah, I think I'm like top 3 or top 4 in all-time assists. And I think think, don't have me to lie, I think I still hold a single game assist record. It was 18 in a game.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you, did you know the number?
I could be wrong. It could be 18. It could be 19. Somewhere along there. You know?
Do you know how many total assists you had for the year? I mean, for your career?
I mean, I don't even know, man. To tell you the truth, the only reason I know that I had that I still had the record because of all these schools have their different websites, and one day Columbia basketball put up that I hold a single season record of like 18 or something. So that's the reason I can remember the exact number.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's for so long. A lot of years and a lot of pounds ago.
Right. I'm with you in that boat too, Tony. I'm definitely with you. Hey, so Tony, talk to us about how was it attending Columbia University, like socially, athletically, and academically? How was that grind for you? Let's deal with the social aspects first.
I mean, socially, it was great for me because, it was like being away from home, but being home. Mm-hmm. And I got a chance to meet a lot of really interesting people and good people from different parts of the world and the country.
Okay.
And it showed me, like, I would go to different friends, roommates' houses for, like, spring break and things like that. And it just showed me how people lived outside of New York.
Yeah.
Being from New York, I traveled with, teams, but we went to tournaments, so I never really had a chance to kind of just figure out what different areas of different parts of the country was like. Mm-hmm. And it really opened my eyes to, like, everyone don't live like we do here in New York.
Right.
And that really opened my eyes from that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Socially it was great, man. I really enjoyed myself. There was some great people there. And, it was a bunch of people that challenged me just to grow as a person. Yeah. To kind of think outside of my norms, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What about athletically? How was it for you athletically?
It was an adjustment. Like I said, I played with some really, really good players.
Yeah.
In high school.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that knew me knew that I could really, really pass the ball, I could handle the ball, I could run a team.
Yeah.
But some of these guys that I played with, kind of covered up some of my weaknesses. Like if I made a bad pass, a guy like a Darryl or a John Morton or a Rod Strickland, they catch that, gobble it up, and finish.
Yeah.
So I had to tone my game down a little bit, just because those guys weren't used to playing at the fast pace that we were playing in New York and I was used to.
Yeah.
And it got to the point, I think it made me a better point guard, and eventually it made me a better coach. Mm-hmm. Because, I literally had to tell those guys out there everything I was doing. Like, I was like, I'm going baseline. Put your hands, I'm throwing a bounce pass. So I had to call guys in. So I was literally talking every play, every position for every guy on my team. Just because, I didn't have to do that before because, it was kind of like playing with great players.
Yeah.
In high school, it was easy.
Right.
All I had to do was just get the ball in the air, and they were going to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, instead of throwing behind the back pass to hit somebody in the chest, I had to throw it on the floor, call their name, let it bounce, and give them reaction time.
Right.
So it taught me a lot about how to kind of adjust to your talent level, and also just running the team even more so, because I literally had to know where everybody was, and if they weren't there, I had to tell them to get there sooner or later.
Definitely.
So it was definitely a growth for me as a point guard, and it helped me, I think, down the line when I became a coach.
Cool. And finally, how did it help you, your experience there academically? The rigors of the Ivy League schools, Ivy League institutions. How was it academically for you?
I tell you the truth, it was, I tell people this all the time, the hardest thing about an Ivy League school is getting in. And once you get in, because the schools, they have such pride in their admissions department that once you get there, you have to go out your way to not be successful. Now, I'm not saying, I made the dean's list 2 semesters, but I'm not, like, you have to really work hard to fail out, because if you go and get the help, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
What it did was it taught me to compete in the classroom, because I never really had to. I was valedictorian at O'Hallows, but I had a great memory. So if I paid attention, I just knew it.
Yeah.
Here, it was just a little deeper, a little bit more complex.
Uh-huh.
So it taught me to compete. It taught me to kind of have pride in the work that I do and that you hand in. And it also taught me don't take anything for granted.
Right. Mm-hmm. Man. Yeah. Do you feel that Columbia prepared you for life?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
It's funny because, obviously I graduated in 89. Mm-hmm. When we didn't have computers, we had typewriters with correctable ribbons. So I laugh at my kids about that. But I tell them, I said, there's not a whole lot of classes that I remember, but there's a lot of situations where I remember where I had to be resourceful. Where I had to, I remember I had a class, it was a crisis management course. run by Zbigniew Brzezinski. His daughter actually is on MSNBC in the morning. He just died a few years ago, but he was he was in the Reagan administration, and he was the crisis management guy.
Okay.
And the course you didn't have any attendance. You didn't have to do any work. There was no test. There was nothing. The grade was solely based on the end of the year. He would come in and tell you the topic, and you had 24 hours to come up with a crisis management solution to whatever the situation was.
Wow.
And he said you can plagiarize, you can cheat, you can do whatever you got. In 24 hours, you got to have a 20-page presentation. So what we did as a group, we had guys, we got walkie-talkies, we had guys go to different libraries on campus. That's when you had to go to libraries.
Right.
Like that. And we had one guy getting the question. We had the other guys in the libraries getting the books. You couldn't check the books out, so we ripped the pages out and left a note for everyone, because it was like a 200 people, like it was a big class.
Right.
We left a note. If you need this, copies will be at such and such. We sold the copies because you couldn't say without the papers weren't there.
Right.
24 hours. So we sold the papers. Then we had a big party for everybody in the class. So we sold the papers, bought stuff for the party, and it worked out. We had one guy write it, another guy dictate, another guy type it, and it just taught you that to be resourceful and how to figure out. Like, I don't remember many classes that I took. I just knew that you had to really, really, figure things out. That's what I think Columbia did for me more so than anything.
Mm-hmm.
It taught me how to adjust. It taught me how to say, listen, there's no such thing as you can't get something done.
Definitely.
You just got to figure it out. I mean, by hook or by crook, you got to figure out how to do it, and then when it's all said and done, you got to put your best foot forward. So,
definitely.
I'm so grateful for the choice that I made, because I could have got caught up in my ego and decided to try to go play somewhere and do things, but I don't think that I would have got the same experience out of it.
Definitely. What was your degree in at Columbia?
I laugh and joke. I tell people it was survival.
You majored in survival. School of Hard Knocks.
But no, it was political science.
Political science. Okay. Nice.
So I really enjoyed my time. I really did.
I can see Tony as a politician. I can see that.
No, I can't. I just don't play the game enough. I can debate the hell out of you, but I'm just not gonna play the game.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough game, that politics, man.
Without a doubt.
Yep, as my man James Ntume says, politics is a pile of tricks.
yeah, I agree. I totally agree. But,
No doubt. Hey, so Tony, so after Columbia, you decide to coach. Like, what got you to bug to coach? I mean, you were a coach on the floor anyway, but what got you involved with coaching?
I tell you the truth, I bumped into coaches by mistake, man. When I graduated, I had some great summer internships when I was at Columbia. I worked in a law firm. I worked for IBM. Mm-hmm. I worked for Northwestern Mutual as a financial advisor.
Wow.
Some internships.
Mm-hmm.
So when I graduated, I went into that field. So I was, doing portfolios and insurance breakdowns for people down in Wall Street. And I was actually doing really well.
Wow.
But I had some incidents with my family. My father got in trouble. People got in trouble.
Yeah.
And I had to take some time off, and it was a commission-based type of job.
Yeah.
I did really well coming out, so it wasn't a matter of me not having enough money, because I made like $60,000 my first 2 months out of school. I was doing really well.
Yeah, that's a lot of money back then and now.
Yeah. So when I came back from clearing up all the situation with my family, they tried to put some limitations on me, like you had to do this, you had to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, listen, man, you guys don't understand that I had to go through a situation with my family. This is not for me. And then I just kind of didn't like what I was doing at that point, didn't like who I was doing it with. So there was a mentor of mine who actually just passed away right before this COVID thing happened. There's a guy named Walter O'Hara who worked for Allen Company. Mm-hmm. And he actually helped me every adult decision I made up until his passing. So I went to him and sat down. He's like, well, what do you want to do? I said, to tell you the truth, I have no idea. Mm-hmm. So he said, well, why don't you go back to All Hallows, help out Coach Carey, teach some classes, help him out a little bit, and then kind of figure it out. So when I went back to All Hallows, there was a kid there, Tariq Sacker, who actually played in Manhattan.
Yes, yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's funny because Tariq, when I graduated from college, Tariq, I was Tariq's mentor. Like, I paid his tuition at All Hallows, the whole thing.
Wow.
And so happened I ended up coaching him his senior year in high school. So he was getting recruited and everything. And then when guys come in, I would sit down and, put him through the ring. What happens if he gets hurt? How many scholarships is he going to play? Because Coach Carey didn't want to deal with all that stuff.
Right.
Fran was recruiting him. So I kind of, that's what Fran was, the hot young cup. He was the next best thing in the world at that time.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of put him through the grill. Like, listen, and like, this guy's like my son. Well, you got, Keaton's there. How you going to play 2 point guards? I really put put him through it.
Yes,
And when it was over, he called Coach Carey and actually said, "Man, you think Tony want to get into college coaching?" And Coach Carey like, nah, Tony ain't really into politics, this, that, and other thing. So I'd like to talk to him. So I sat down and interviewed with Fran, and I actually went to the interview with the intentions on not taking a job. Like, not my wildest imagination. I didn't want to be a college coach. In all honesty, I didn't get along with any of my coaches. The only coach that I ever got along with in my life was Lamar Dyson.
Wow.
Lamar Dyson.
Yes,
Everybody else I bumped heads with because I thought I knew too much or whatever the case is. So when I sat down with Fran, he Fran me, he played for him. So he sell you a bridge.
Yep.
So he pretty much said, "Listen, Tony, I think you'd be pretty good at this." He said, "Why don't you give it a shot for a year?" He said, "Worst case scenario, if it don't work, you can dust off your Ivy League degree, go back down to Wall Street, figure it out."
Mm-hmm.
And he knew me a little bit better than I knew myself at that point, and I ended up doing it for 24 years. So I got into it by mistake.
Wow, man! So man, how was your first stop? That was your first stop.
Yeah, that was my first job. It was never my plan to be a college coach. It was never my plan. It wasn't my plan to be a high school coach. I mean, it just kind of fell in. It just kind of. I was led in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Man, that is phenomenal, man. And he coached over 24 years. So
24 years in college and 3 years in high school, man. So 27 years.
Man. So check this out, TC. So now, and who's watching us? We got James Williams watching us. What's going on, James? We also got the Silver Fox of Josses, George Sylvie, joining us here on Transition Tuesdays. As Chris says, wow. Yeah, Chris, I'm the same way. I didn't know that story about Tony, man. But Tony, about the coaching scenarios, like, okay, I want to go over like each one of your stops, right? So we have Manhattan College. So, and again, when I want to go over your stops, I want to talk to you. I want to get your prize recruit. Like, who is you responsible bringing in to the program? So I guess for here at Manhattan College, that first one, your prize one was Tariq Thacker, I would imagine, right?
That's what's interesting. I didn't start coaching there until Tariq was a junior.
Mm.
So I coached him his senior year at O'Hallows.
Okay.
And then he went to Manhattan College. And 2 years after is when I had the conversation with Fran to come to the interview.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay. I got you.
I didn't recruit that. The most successful guy I recruited, who actually was my very first recruit in college, was Darrell Brown.
Darrell Brown, yes, Hall of Fame at Manhattan, yes, great player.
He was my very first recruit, and then Boo Lane was my second recruit there.
Boo Lane, yes, oh man, yup. I think is it Boo Lane? I know did he go back to Africa? I think he's like a consulate.
I'm talking about Badu Kane. I'm talking about Phil Boo Lane, the little point guard.
Phil. Okay, there you go. I appreciate that. Yes.
Kane too. I recruited Badu. Yeah, I recruited Badu also.
Oh, okay. But my man Boo Lane, yes, Boo Lane, yes, little cat, yes.
Yeah. But Darrell was my very first recruit ever. And actually, he wrote me a note when he decided to commit. Man, I still have that note. And he was like, "Hey, you was at every game. When people didn't think I could do this, and you were there. And when I didn't play well, you always called me, said, I'm coming there because, this, that, and other thing. Let's go to work." So I still have that note. He's my very first recruit.
That is cool, man. Man.
To this day. We stay in contact to this day.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, Darrell's good dude. Good cat, man.
Real good people, man.
Yep.
Great family, man.
Mm-hmm. Great family. So let's talk about Drexel. What about Drexel and your time there? How was your time there?
I went to Iona from Manhattan. So I was at Iona for 6 years.
Okay, so let's do that. Okay.
Who was my best recruiter? Well, I had different ways. I mean, Courtney Fields was really, really good that I recruited there.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before I left, I had that whole wave of guys from O'Hallows and Rice. When I had Lil Steve, Ricky Sulliver, Daryl Washman, and Marvin McCullough.
Yep.
I put that group as my best group at one time. But I recruited, Diary Wilson, Courtney Fields. Who else? We had a gang of guys there. Man. Yep. That was really, really good.
Tony Chiles is the plug.
I wish. I mean, like Lil Steve ended up being number 2 all-time leading scorer. Ricky Sullivan had like 1,600.
Wow.
Carol's like top 5 in rebounding. Marv's like top 3 in assists. So I think that was probably my most influential group that I brought into Iona. And we won 3 championships.
Yeah.
We won 2 back-to-back, and then when I left, that group won a championship this senior year.
Right. I remember, 3 championships. I know
that group at Iona was the first group, and people don't realize it because it just became common, but that was the first team that went back-to-back in the MAC in 20 years.
Wow,
You know,
really?
The first team that won back-to-back championships in 20 years.
Man.
And then, you know, then Manhattan had a couple of runs back-to-back, and then Iona did it like 5-6 years in a row. But we were the first team in 20 years to win back-to-back championships.
Man. And speaking of Iona, Patino's there now. How do you think Patino's going to do there?
I mean, he can coach, man. I mean, you know, he can coach, and there's a buzz about him being there. So, you know, he's going to get some guys to go there, man. You know, Iona's like Manhattan, man. It's always going to find a way to win.
Yeah.
You know, they're in the city, and it's just close enough to be in the city, but you're not really in the city. And you always want to get the Catholic League players and the occasional public school kid that gets it done. So you can always stay relevant at those two schools, I've always thought.
Gotcha. So the Manhattan deal. So you coached at Manhattan first, and then you went to Iona. Did you leave Manhattan like after Franny left to go to St. John's, or?
No, I was there with John Leonard actually for 2 years, and he and I just didn't see eye to eye.
Gotcha.
And I worked for him for 2 years. The first year we struggled a little bit. That was Tariq's senior year.
Yeah.
And then I was there for Travis Lyons' senior year. And then after the season, I left.
Right.
I was actually going to get out of coaching altogether. And then Jeff Rulin called me when he got the job, and I went over there.
Yeah, man. And what was your next stop after Iona?
Then I went to Drexel. I was at Drexel for 6 years.
6 years, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had, I'm trying to think about this, Frank Elligar, Jamie Harris, Gerald Cole, Chris Faust.
Man.
I mean, at one point we had like 9 guys from New York on that team. and I mean, I felt bad because we kind of got screwed twice. One year we didn't make the tournament. We were the last team out, and we had road wins at Syracuse, at Villanova, at Creighton.
I remember that.
St. Joe's. We beat Temple. I mean, we had the most road wins of anybody in the country.
Man.
But we ended up coming in third in our league. That's when that league was tough. They had, UNC Wilmington was tough. Hofstra was tough. We were tough. VCU was tough. So we ended up coming in third, so we were the last team out. And then when I left, that last group I left, they won 17 games in a row and lost the championship game to VCU, and they didn't get in.
I remember that year. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, we had some good teams down there. I mean, we had that, NIT runs. We made it to the NIT preseason Final Four. It was UCLA, Duke. I can't think, but it was like a Kansas or somebody else in Drexel.
Drexel.
We lost to UCLA. They called a bad foul. Like we were up by 2, and they called a foul on the 3. They hit the 3, and then we lost to Duke by like 4. Like bad plays down the stretch. But I mean, we had some really, really good teams. Actually, the point guard on that team is Bashir Mason. He's the head coach at Wagner right now.
Wow, okay.
There's some really, really good teams down there.
Man, okay. Man. So what about after Drexel, where'd you go to?
After Drexel, I came back and I was at St. John's with Lab.
Right, St. John's, yes. And your boy Jason, right? Jason Tilton.
Yeah, my man Jay Tilt. Jay Tilt, definitely. That's my partner, man.
Yeah, shout out to my man Jason. Yeah. So how was your who were you responsible for bringing people into St. John's? What players did you bring in there?
Man, listen, man. Mo Harkless, Sir Don Pointer, Phil Green, D'Angelo Harris, Chris O'Beck, I mean, we had pros on top of pros. We had really, really, really good players. Jakar Sampson, Amir Garrett, who plays baseball, not a pitcher. I mean, we had that first year. We went to the tournament with all seniors, and one of our best players got hurt. Who was it? I'm trying to think. I must be getting old, Lefty, but he's one of the best players to play in that TBT thing.
Is Kennedy?
Yeah, he blew his ACL out in the Big East tournament, so we lose in the first round.
Right.
Our last year, we go to the tournament, and Chris O'Beckba didn't play because he didn't pass the drug test. And the school actually called into the selection committee and told him that he wasn't going to play. Nobody in the Big East that year got lower than the 4th seed. We came in second.
Wow.
We got an 8th seed. We lost in the first round. So I mean, but we had great teams there, man. I mean, we went postseason 4 out of 5 years. We went to 2 NCAA tournaments, 2 NIT, and the 1 year we didn't make any postseason when all those guys were NBA, another 3 or 4 that's overseas, man. So we had some dudes there, man.
Yeah, I just saw a guy Hawkins just re-signed with somebody. He re-upped with somebody with a big contract.
Yeah. Mo he just got traded down to Miami.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good spot for him. A good fit.
Yeah, great spot for him. Man.
Definitely, man.
So now we had some players there. I mean, I think they were expecting us to get a lot more done, but they haven't been close to what we've done. They haven't done close to what we did as far as recruiting and wins and anything like that since we left. But you know, when you do a job, people think it's easy. I tell people all the time, it's one thing to get a job, but it's another thing to do it. Man.
Yeah,
that's a tough job.
Yep. And when you got TC on staff, you get those good players. That's how that go down.
Listen, I don't know. I mean, I've been fortunate, man. I got good relationships, man. You're only as good as your relationship.
That's true.
And people always show that they can trust me because I've never really bullshitted anybody as far as what expectations were and what kids had to do. And the biggest thing is that those kids always graduate.
There you go. That's the big thing. Yeah, perfect. So you were at St. John's. Where'd you go after that? Did you go to Fordham after that?
I went to Fordham for a year with Jeff Neubauer. We didn't really see eye to eye. And I left. I actually was going to leave the business altogether again. And then Mike Dunleavy Sr. called me. He created a position for me down at Tulane. So I was down there until we got let go last year or the year before.
Yeah, and it was funny because I saw you down there because you man, you invited me to a game. I got a chance to see you in the game because that Tulane was the school my ex-wife graduated from it, and her mom.
I remember you telling me that.
Yep, graduated from Tulane. Yep. How was your experience? How'd you like Louisiana, man? How'd you like living down there?
I tell you the truth. In hindsight, I mean, from just a career standpoint, I probably should have left after we got let go at St. John's. I probably should have just said, you know what, I had my time. Let me move on. But hanging on for those years allowed me to be down in New Orleans, and I actually loved it, man. It gave me an opportunity to kind of just take a step back. In my first 2 years, I wasn't recruiting, so I just had like a regular. I was just there, helping out, doing stuff. But it allowed me to kind of take a deep breath and kind of reevaluate the situation and just kind of just back off. Because I mean, like I said, I had 20-something years in a row, man, grinding, man. That's a tough grind. And you think about it, all the jobs that we talked about, I never had the best job in any league as far as like facilities or location or any of that kind of stuff. So all those things that we got done in those different places, man, was a grind. Yeah. And I didn't realize how much it took a toll on me just physically and just and time away from my family. I mean, like now that I'm not coaching, man, it's the best thing in the world because I spend so much time around my kids. Yeah. And in my family, I'm not missing Thanksgivings and Christmases and birthdays and baby showers, stuff that I didn't even realize that I was missing because I was so caught up in trying to get the job done and doing what I had to do for my family as far as making a living. Definitely. Yeah. Man. Yep. So you did all that, man. So Tulane, you were at Tulane. So hey, what are the things that you liked about coaching? What are some of the things you totally dislike about coaching? I think that changed over the years, man, because the business itself changed. I mean, I've always enjoyed it, and I tell people I said, my loyalty in any job was always to the kids first, to my boss second, and then to the institution third. And when I tell people that, they look at me like I'm crazy, like, well, no, you got to be loyal to the school or your boss or this or that. And I'm like, listen, I say, I sit and you spend so much time recruiting these kids, and you're talking to them, and you're telling your parents you're going to make sure that you do the best you can for them. So my loyalty was always to the kids because they were kids. Yeah. I was getting a paycheck for it. The head coach was getting a paycheck for it. The school was bringing in money for it. Definitely. These kids, believe what I told them. Yep. So my thing was, I mean, I always enjoyed the relationships with the kids, seeing them, come from really immature, not knowing what's going on with the world, and turning out like kids like Tariq Jackson. Yeah. So just seeing where they are. And I mean, I'm sure there's some kids out there that I've coached that may not think I'm the best thing to Swiss cheese. But every kid that I can think of, even when I was coaching in high school, I have a great relationship with them. I'm godfather to their kids. I've been in their weddings, things of that matter. So that's been the most fulfilling thing that I really enjoyed about coaching, is really helping young men become men. Because I know without basketball, man, I don't know where I would. Without guys like Lamar Dyson, Coach Carey, and people like that, I don't know if I'd have made it. In all honesty. Definitely, man. We got Manuel joining us, and we also got Tony Morales joining us. Welcome, everybody, to Transition Tuesdays. Love having you guys.
We got my man Tony Chiles on here today, my special guest. Hey, so Tony, man, how was the transition like for you from being a college coach to what you do now as a, as an entrepreneur and as a mentor, which you've been doing for years? But how has that transition been for you?
I tell you the truth, that's why I love your whole concept of Transition Tuesdays, because I never really looked at myself as a coach. I really didn't. It's funny to say that because I did it for 20-some years. I always looked at myself as like an educator, as a mentor.
Yeah.
And I would tell people, all the time, once I thought I wasn't relevant in the game, I would get out of it and move on. And for me, it was an easy transition, man. I mean, and I haven't looked back. It wasn't like I said, oh, man, I need to get a job. But like, not once I think I wanted to get any of these jobs that were open. Like, when we got let go at Chiles, I tried to get involved with UConn. I tried to get involved with St. John's. I tried to get involved with Seton Hall. And when those things didn't happen, I just moved on. But what has helped me with the transition is that, like, I never felt I was married to it.
Right.
I mean, I wanted to be a head coach, but I never felt that would define it. Like I said, as long as I do right by these kids, I never screw over my boss, and I do the job, I'm cool with whatever comes from it. So because of that, there was never any regrets or any second guessing, or if I'm working on a project and it doesn't work out, let me try to get back in the coach. That's never crossed my mind.
Yeah,
never crossed my mind. So it's been an easy, smooth transition, man. Because I try to stay in the moment. I try to stay present.
Definitely,
and not get caught up in what happened. And I've never been a live in the past kind of guy.
Gotcha. So now, Tony, I know you're a retired coach, right? But if you were to come out to be a head coach somewhere, do you have like that actual dream job or that dream school that you want to coach at?
Nah, like I tell you, I bumped into coaching by mistake. So it's not like I've ever said, man, when I'm finished playing, I'm gonna get into coaching, and then I want to be the coach of the Knicks. Like I never looked at it that way. Like it's funny because people would always say, Tony, what do you want to do? I'm like, I still don't know what I want to do with my life.
Right.
But I know I want to be relevant, and I know I want to be able to help kids and mentor people and point them in the right direction. Because, like I said, basketball truly saved my life. People say that, but and like you know the story of my brother and being a hustler and all that. I could have very easily been right there.
Yeah.
But he didn't let me. He allowed me to be a kid. He allowed me to kind of chase my dream of playing basketball and not having to worry about things that I probably would have had to otherwise.
Yeah, that's true. And, you make a good point there, Tony, man, because like a lot of people got to realize, like when you're good at a young age, especially in the hoods in which you're from, a lot of times the hood will protect you because they see.
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
It's not the same anymore. It's not the same anymore.
Right, yeah. But yeah, back in the days when we was coming up, you seen somebody was good, seen somebody was nice, that hood's going to protect you to see how far you can go. But yeah, like you said, that's once upon a time, But
yeah, I'm a prime example of that. I can attest that I'm a prime example of that.
Yes.
They didn't let me do anything stupid.
Right. Yep.
Even when I wanted to.
Right. Yep. Nah, you can't do that, Tony. Nah, you gotta do it. You gotta go here. You gotta go to the courts, man. You gotta do this and that, right?
Exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Man. So I touched upon it earlier about your brother's book. So hey, talk to me about your brother's book, The Crack Era, the rise and fall and redemption of Kevin Chiles. Talk to me a little bit about that because you are a central figure in the book. So talk to me a little bit about that book if we can.
I tell you the truth, the name is definitely the shock value. But it's interesting because it's really a depiction of what was going on in New York City, in the Bronx and Harlem in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Actually, a couple of colleges are using that book in their curriculum now.
Wow, that's super.
We've gotten a lot of leverage from it, a lot of positive feedback. And it just kind of talks about how, circumstances led my brother into being, and I don't call him a drug dealer. He was a hustler. Like, he's hustling now. And it just shows how he morphed from, we didn't have anything. We grew up in a one-bedroom apartment with me, my brother, my brother's father, and then finally got a two-bedroom. But, we had nothing.
Right.
And he felt the need to be able to try to help my mother and my father. My father didn't learn how to read until he was put in jail. Like, so,
Wow.
I mean, my father grew up on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
So we like literally had nothing.
Yeah.
I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college.
Wow.
And so my brother kind of morphed from, packing bags to, comic books collections, baseball collections, to working down at Yankee Stadium on the little board selling souvenirs, to selling loose joints, to this, to that. And this was all about just trying to help, my family kind of just maintain.
Right.
And it just kind of morphed into him being this kind of larger than life figure in the drug world. But he was never a drug dealer. Like, he was just more of a hustler.
Hustler, yeah.
And I tell people, I said, my brother's one of the smartest people I know. Mm-hmm. Everyone talks about, hey, you went to Columbia, this, that, and everything. My brother could have done anything, and he's doing. I mean, stuff. Like, he had his own magazine, Don Diva magazine. He created that when he was in jail because he didn't want to work for anybody when he came home.
Wow, your brother created that magazine?
Yeah, that's his magazine. Yeah.
Wow, didn't know that.
And I mean, like, my brother was ahead of the curve. Like, he had a store. He had clothing stores in Harlem before hustlers thought about doing that. He had a record label before he got. So he was always a forward thinker, And then him getting arrested saved his life. Because realistically, I mean, people don't realize this. My brother was the second person after John Gotti that they tried to give natural life to. And he had two hung juries. Mm-hmm. And they pretty much said, listen, man, we know what you did. And it's funny because I was in a meeting with him and the government. They're like, listen, you made a lot of money, but we make money. Our case may not be that great, but at the end of the day, eventually that high-priced lawyer you got over here is going to be a court-appointed lawyer, and we're going to rock your ass to sleep. Exact words. So you need to tell us what you're going to do, and we'll figure it out. So he didn't snitch on nobody. He didn't have to tell on nobody.
Right.
He told those guys, said, hey, y'all know who did what. I'm the only person in my family who didn't get arrested when this whole thing went down. Wow. They said, let the women go, give people back this stuff, that stuff, and I'm going to do 10 years. So I'm not going to do more than 10 years. And then the biggest thing is one of my childhood friends, man, like, he's like a brother to us. Mm-hmm. He got arrested they arrested him the day before my brother. And he had a prior. So he copped out to 17 and a half years because he knew that if they got him and he had to testify, my brother was going to jail. So he said, take me out of it, I'm done. My brother was like, nah. And the last thing is, he can't get more time than me. And they took 7.5 years off of him. So, so like I said, stand-up dude, man, and like he kind of taught me what it is to be responsible and to take care of your family and to be. And he always says, listen, Tom, I never thought about telling anybody because I knew what I was doing,
right?
And I knew what the consequences was.
Right.
So me getting caught don't mean that you should get caught too. Like I can't respect someone that does something knowing what the reality is and what the circumstances can be, and then turn around and say, listen, I'm gonna use my free get out of jail pass. So I mean, as crazy as it sounds, like I said, he was probably one of the biggest drug dealers in the Northeast during his time. But there's rules to it,
Yeah.
And he taught me what it was to be a stand-up man.
Mm-hmm. Man, and all this is in the book here, right, Tom?
Oh yeah, all is in the book, man. It's a great read, man. It's a great read, man.
Man.
And it's funny because I obviously lived,
right.
I was there when he got arrested. They came and grabbed me and said, listen, I know he listened to you and all that kind of stuff. But when I was reading through it, it took me back to those times. I mean, it took me back to the blackouts in New York in the 70s. It took me back to, the rooftop in Harlem. It took me back to, Rich Porter's little brother getting kidnapped. I mean, I drove Rich to the McDonald's when he picked up his brother's finger. So like all that paid in full stuff, I lived through all that.
Wow, man. I never knew the story, Tom.
So like I literally, like when I was at Columbia, my brother had crack spots 10 blocks away. So like it's interesting. Like it tells some stories about like guys tried to rob me one time. I had a chain at Columbia, and I called my brother. Like if you're into reading, it takes you back. It's actually an auto book too. So I mean, it's a great read, man. Like I said, a couple of colleges are using it in their criminal justice curriculum.
Man, that is great. Can we get the book on Amazon? Can people get the book on Amazon?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on audio book. I mean,
okay.
It's one of the top 5 sellers on Amazon as we speak.
Whoa. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put that out there too, man. I'll post that with the read to get there, man, to get the book, man. Man, the crack era. I liked. I never knew the whole story, man. That's incredible, man.
Most people don't. That's why when they were like, it's funny when people start reading the book, they're like, "Tone, I've known you. That's your brother." I'm mean, I'm not,
Right.
not at one bit am I ashamed of it. Like I said, he saved my life.
Right.
He taught me what it was to be a man, to be a father, to be responsible for the people that surround you.
Definitely. Yeah. Wow, man, I got to pick that up. Yeah, I'll definitely post that on this page. Yeah, that way people get that book, man. That's great that his story is part of a curriculum in college. That's the amazing story. Like
we're negotiating movie deals and all kind of stuff from it. So I mean, it's been a blessing, man.
Oh, that's super. Blessing, that is super, man. It's nothing like family, man. And speaking of family, my last question I got for you, TC, man, is this. Now, Thanksgiving is coming up in 2 days, right? So, what is the must-have food for my man TC on Thanksgiving? What do you have to have at the Thanksgiving table that you can't leave the house, you can't leave without it? You have to have, is this like one thing you have to have at Thanksgiving?
You got to be macaroni and cheese, man.
Mac and cheese?
Mac and cheese, man. Mac and cheese, you know. Then you throw the collard greens in there, and then to finish it off, you got to have some sweet potato pie.
Definitely. Oh man, now that's definitely true. Must have is the mac and cheese. You right about that, Tone, man. I definitely agree with you on that, man. Hey, Tone, man. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure, man. I always want to have you on the show because I know partially of your story, but now I know the full length, the totality of your story, which is a phenomenal one, man. And again, this conversation has been around since me and you was bitty ball, man. Again,
we've known each other way longer than most people ever realize, man.
Absolutely, man. But Tony, man, it's been an absolute thrill of mine to have you on the show, man. Again, man, God bless you, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you, man. And I'm so glad you can come on. I gotta have you on again, man. We gotta have you back on when they make the movie or what have you, because I know they're gonna definitely get that's gonna definitely be a movie. I know that for no doubt about that.
You want, man. Like I said, it's a beautiful thing to work for yourself, man. You can kind of move around and do what you got to do whenever you want to, man. So you need me, I'm there, man. You know how we do, man.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Tony, man. Appreciate you, brother. One love, man.
Right, definitely, man. Love you to death, bro.
All right, brother. Later. All right. That was my man, Tony Chiles, man. A New York City icon, man. A guy who was a valedictorian at his high school, All Hallows. Man, he did a great job at Columbia University, coached for over 24 plus years. I mean, the story, with his brother in the book and everything, man. Oh, that's phenomenal, man. Thank you, Tony, on that for coming on. We got Janine joining. What's going on, Janine, my Jasper sister? What's going on? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome. Hey, so ladies and gentlemen, if we were able to make you laugh, smile, or think during this broadcast, my good friends, you have accomplished something major. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory. As we're going to play a couple of tunes here before we rock on out. Oh, man. That was so good, man. That was so good. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching Transition Tuesday. Each and every Tuesday is here. I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. If you guys haven't done so already, you can always follow me on Instagram. I'm at rwilltransitions. You can follow me there. We got Rich joining. What's going on, Rich? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome. Better late than never. I'm glad you're here, though. Thank you for coming on board. Appreciate you. Yeah, so, also, what I also do is I post this particular interviews and interviews like this, past episodes. I post them on my YouTube page, Transition Tuesdays, as a apostrophe S. So you can always see the broadcast and the repeats shows. You can definitely go check that out. So please do so there. And a couple of things before we head on out. I want to wish each and everybody out there happy Thanksgiving. Make sure please be safe. Practice social distancing indoors and outdoors. So if you decide to be with a group, please be responsible, guys out there. This pandemic is still looming, it's not going anywhere. So we just got to, practice social distancing, take care of our elders, and again, wear that mask, indoors, wear the mask, man, protect yourself and protect other lives as well, when you're doing that. So happy Thanksgiving to you. And the thing, people ask me, what am I thankful for? I tell you what, guys, I am thankful for you, the Transition Army out there. So thank you so much and happy Thanksgiving to you. So, as we always say in parting, Happy transitioning, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to you. See you next week.